The Celestial Empire, or Points and Pickings of Information about China and the Chinese, by George Mogridge. Chapter 29. Continuation of Manners and Customs. When you visit China, you must accommodate yourselves to the customs of the people. The saying, when at Rome you must do as Rome does, should in some measure be acted on everywhere, always avoiding doing evil anywhere. Never adopt bad principles nor bad practices, but in other things, looking around you with good humor, quarrel with none about their prejudices. Let Americans speak of land, fat hogs, dollars, and presidents' speeches. Italians talk of statues and paintings, Naples, Florence, and Rome. Frenchmen boast of La Grande Nation, while Englishmen shout out liberty and sing Britannia rules the waves. If you use a knife and fork at your meals, let the people of China use their chopsticks without laughing at them. And while you can eat roast beef at Dover, allow your neighbors at Calais to enjoy their fricasseed frogs. Climate, circumstances, and customs require you to accommodate yourselves to your position. You would hardly wear the same clothing at Copenhagen as at Calcutta, or speak the same language at Constantinople as at Canada. At Paris, do all a la mode, if you please. What is done at Canton must be a la Chinese. Among the Chinese feasts, none are equal to the Feast of Lanterns, held on the 15th day of the first moon, in brilliance and splendor. This is not a spectacle confined to a few towns and villages, but a general illumination that breaks out at once through every province, city, town, and village in China. All that taste and ingenuity can effect are displayed on the occasion, and lanterns of the most glowing colors and fanciful forms are seen in every direction. Could the eye take in the whole empire? It would see at a glance not less than 200 million lanterns. No imagination can realize the scene, and certainly no pen or tongue can describe it. Some of the lanterns are very large and others very small. Some are formed of glass, horn, mica, or pearl shell, and others of paper, cotton, or silk. Here, one in the shape of a fish spouts out innumerable sparkles of firework. There, a bird bursts into blue lights, and yonder a hideous dragon with glaring eyes vomits forth hissing snakes and streams of fire, while the people, with lantern in hand, hurry off from one spectacle to another. You must not imagine that the lanterns of which I have spoken are as brilliant as argand lamps or bengola lights. They are not illuminated with gas, but with oil and cotton wicks, and are much more splendid on account of their great number and showy decorations than on account of the intensity of their light. Yet still, the brilliance and splendor of the Feast of Lanterns is unrivaled. In the 8th moon, a festival is held of a singular character. Groups of people are seen walking about in all directions from the time of sunset or moon rising till midnight, looking for what they are not at all likely to find. Not only the streets, but courts, terraces, gardens, and public places are thronged. It is popularly reported that on the night in question the figure of a hare appears in the moon. Long do the people walk, and patiently do they watch, apparently well satisfied with their nocturnal promenade, even though no hare makes its appearance. Some days before this festival, cakes called Yuaping or cakes of the moon are sent as presents, and these cakes, which have on them the figure of a hare in almonds, nuts, kernels, pineapple, or sugar, are eaten during their nightly ramble to the sound of music. Among the poor, the dub-a-dub of the drum and the din of the gong may be heard, while the rich provide themselves with more harmonious music. The principal season of leisure in China, when almost everyone indulges in holiday, is at the beginning of the new year. On the night of the last day of the old year, the people sit up to engage in sacred rites and prepare for the solemnities of the new year. The custom of letting off crackers is almost universal. There is no intermission of fireworks through the whole night. The houses are swept, the rooms garnished, and the shrine of the household gods decorated. The fragrant gourd, the large citron, and the flower of the narcissus are displayed, and on the first day of the first moon, habited in their best attire, the people crowd to their different temples. The public offices are closed, labor is suspended, presents are made freely, and visits are received and paid. The large red tickets of congratulation passing from one family to another are almost numberless. The opinions and manners and customs of the Chinese would, in very many things, surprise you. You would be surprised to hear them say that the needle of the compass pointed to the south. To see them dress themselves in white for mourning. To see a soldier mandarin wearing a string of beads and carrying a fan. To see old men flying paper kites. To see the master of a house receive his guests with his hat on. To see the people read their books beginning at what we call the end, and to hear learned men declare that the stomach is the seat of the human understanding. Yet these are only a few of the many things that would occasion you surprise. As Chinese mansions are usually estimated by the space the buildings cover and by the size and number of their different parts, so on this account, the courts, galleries, and trellis work are often stretched out far and wide. The walks of figured tiles have a very neat and clean appearance, while masses of artificial rock, golden carping pools, and stands of costly flowers add much to the elegance of the scene. The triple gateway entrance is usually adopted in the erection of a house of consequence. The center folding door is ample, while those at the side are of diminished magnitude. Large lanterns of an imposing kind are sure to be seen at the entrance of every superior dwelling, which look gay but give a bad light, and the visitor enters a covered court just within the gates. The outer wall, built with brick, unadorned with windows, has a dull, heavy appearance, but the covered courts with walls of green varnished tiles, the colonnades, granite platforms, halls, galleries, and ornamented roofs are very striking. I forget whether I have already made the remark that the Chinese are the only Eastern people who use chairs. There is a wild tradition of a young Chinese making a successful visit to the netherworld to bring back his mother, and this tradition is said to have given rise to a festival which is held on the first day of the seventh moon. This festival, held for the advantage of departed relatives in the world of spirits, is a public one and is celebrated in a public manner. Images of the infernal deities, with that of Yen Wang, the Chinese Pluto, among them, are placed in large buildings constructed of mete, ornamented with illuminated lanterns, and Buddha priests chant masses for the dead. Great numbers are attracted to these met edifices, for in them are exhibited the most frightful representations of a future state. Happiness and woe are strongly depicted, the pleasures of the blessed and the torments of the accursed. Offerings are made, colored papers in the shape of clothes are burned, and feasting freely indulged in. The offerings are meats for the food of the departed, and the burned paper is intended for their dress. Sons of Confucius, disciples of Lao Tse, followers of Fo, where is your discretion?